Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us on Check-In with Pierre Bee, but more importantly with Stephane Gras, the General Manager of the Four Seasons in San Francisco. Check-In, you can find us on YouTube and on LinkedIn as well. You can find us on FAGA, the French Hospitality and Gastronomy Association as well. So today we are very excited. Stephane, bonjour.
Hello, Pierre. Bonjour.
It's great seeing you again.
It's great. Thanks for the opportunity.
You're more than welcome. You look sharp, much sharper than me. Next time, I'm going to wear a suit as well. Just put my... But Stephane, is that okay with you if I give a quick introduction about your career in hospitality for 2 or 3 minutes for people who don't know you, and then we jump into questions?
Yeah, sure. Clearly. Go ahead.
Okay. And you tell me if I'm wrong afterwards, okay? But I think it should be okay. Okay, so you recently arrived in the beautiful city of the Bay called San Francisco a few months ago. I put June. I'm not sure if it was in June, but let's say summer, this summer. You went to the École Hôtelière de Lausanne, sorry. A lot of us here in San Francisco went through that school. So it's one more alumni. You have been in the industry for over 25 years. So needless to say that you have the passion for hospitality, the love for it, and we will discuss about that a bit later on. You traveled the world. I noted 13 destinations. Maybe you have more, but that's what I was able to count. 5 different countries, the US, 5 different cities, New York City, Austin, Newport Beach, Hawaii, island, and then San Francisco. So 5 destinations in the US. You work in Europe as well, recently in Megève before coming to San Francisco. You work next to Lyon as well. You work in Czech Republic, in Prague. You work in Asia, in Azerbaijan, in Baku, the capital, and you work in the Middle East, in Egypt, in Cairo. And that's enough for, I think that's a good round of the world, but you're not done yet. We'll talk about that as well. You started your career in F&B and worked your way up. Congratulations. You became a hotel manager and then a general manager position that you've held, I think, over the last 7 or 8 years. Most of your career has been spent with Four Seasons Hotels and Resorts since 1999, except at the beginning for a very short stint that you had at the Waldorf Astoria in New York City. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's, very well done. Keep track of back and forth. But yeah, I think pretty much everything is in there.
Yeah, I tell you something, it was quite some work to be able to follow what you've done. So my first question to you, Stephane, is what did attract you about San Francisco? Why did you choose that to come here? I'm sure you had more than one location to pick, to pick and go. Knowing that you've been already 4 times in the US, this is your 5th destination in the US alone. Why?
Well, yeah, it's a comeback. After I spent the first 10 years, let's say, of my career in the US, and as you highlighted, it was like in 4 very distinctive destinations, as diverse as New York City, Austin, Texas, Southern California, and then Hawaii. And it was very, and I say we, because also as a family, we enjoyed that time in the US so much. And I enjoyed also from the perspective of working here, that at some point when the opportunity came to come back to the US and certain, opportunities were opening, San Francisco was really, came naturally as a super attractive destination, because for everything that it offers, for how it resonates to me, from also that short stint in Southern California that gave me definitely opened my appetite for knowing more about California. And even though it's a very, very big state and very different from southern part to the northern part, San Francisco is definitely it's a destination that from the earlier part of my career was at some point an objective.
What did you expect of San Francisco, or how did you envision the city to be? What is the tech environment, the food and beverage environment, knowing that you have that background of F&B for quite a few years? what was the most attractive to you? What did really make you tilt?
Chose San Francisco? Well,
Yes.
there's so many, I think there's so many aspects that influenced or that created that definitely appeal for the destination, because what you just, you mentioned, gastronomy or food culture. I think it's also just the richness of that destination, that city, that part of California, of the US, as is so rich in its diversity, in its influences. It's, I think, from, and coming from Europe or not, but you get attracted by everything that it offers, from the climate, from the proximity of activities, from the architectural aspect of the city and appeal, and again, that very diverse and progressive, I would say, feeling that you get in a destination. Funny enough, I never tried. I had some layovers, I think, when we lived in Hawaii in San Francisco, when I never came to the city before. So it was really but when the opportunity came up, I jumped on it. I went through the process very, very confidently, based on also the feedback that I had heard, and despite, I would say, what you may hear and read and about San Francisco in the current context, but that's we'll get to that later. That's part also of how from a business perspective, there's quite a bit to be done.
Okay, that's a great, Ali, to go to my next question. What is your first feeling of the city? What do you see? You've been here a few months now, so you may have, a quick snapshot of what you've seen, what you've heard compared to what you've experienced. How do you see San Francisco after, traveling the world, traveling the US? What is your take on the city and where we are now?
Well, being now in the city for a bit more than three months, certainly I can certainly understand or now it connects about its reputation and why it's so special, why it resonates so especially in a lot of people who have visited or lived here, because of everything it offers. So it definitely, let's say, the reality of living here brings everything in perspective. I think, there's obviously a certain context at the moment that is difficult, that we and there's certainly it's not about diminishing that, but it's also about, I think, living here, working here, and being, through my work, because working in the hospitality sector, you also, you're a steward of a destination as well, right? You're a person that, through the organization, we're here to also to put the destination in perspective for visitors. And it is amazing to see that despite everything that is somehow, a bit difficult to, and complicated on some aspects of safety and social challenges in certain parts of the city, but you can still enjoy, you can enjoy, and you can, really completely, discover the destination to a wider range of activities and places, and enjoy fabulous food, enjoy the culture. I would say a large percentage of the destination is still not impacted by certain aspect, the drug problem and the homelessness situation, and I think it's very important that as hospitality, let's say, specialists, hoteliers, restaurant businesses, people who are working in all the tourism business, that we are better at also curating the stays of guests, preparing them, that they can enjoy the city to its fullest. And it's still, of course, you take certain precautions in certain parts of the city, like you do in so many other cities in the world nowadays. But it's still so enjoyable. And I keep on saying still. I hope it doesn't go further than that, obviously. But I think there's already we see signs, and from talking to a lot of people that have been much longer than me, and I've seen a little bit of the more difficult moments. There's a comeback, and there are some improvements noticed on how the destination fights certain challenges, problematics. So there's a lot of, for me, there's a lot of confidence. It's a long run. We need to be conscious of that, and I think we all are. It's not something that's gonna, improve overnight, but the destination is so fantastic. It's a brand by itself. It is meant to rebound and recover, both economically, but also from a perspective of being appealing to visitors.
You're talking about recovery. We have Dreamforce right now happening by Salesforce, which is a big convention, and everybody should come back to San Francisco for convention, by the way. Okay, guys? Anyone should come back. How is it going so far? How is the Dreamforce going? You're really not far at all from the epicenter of this big, largest event of the year for the city. What's your take on that? How do you guys enjoy this?
Well, and so it's for myself, it's the first citywide that I'm part of through the hotel. Our location is really at the, we have this ideal location in the city where we are very close to the Moscone Center and everything that is going on in terms of citywide events, but also very short walking distance from Union Square and other business areas. So we're really at the epicenter of a lot of things. So you can combine, people who are here on conventions can also really much enjoy the city life and city vibes, steps from the hotel. But we certainly work there. And even though I hear it's a bit of maybe it's not at the scale that it has been in some years, but it's certainly a good rebound in the right direction. It is not a surprise to anyone who knows the destination, the city, that citywide events were numerous in San Francisco prior to the pandemic, and of course the pandemic has brought a lot of challenges from that perspective. It's slow to come back and to go back to those levels of 2019. We have perspectives of 2024 that are, complex. Again, it's about being resilient. It's about also being attentive to, adjusting what we need to adjust to convince citywide events to either stay or come back for those who have gone away. But that's something that is done by all different stakeholders in the city. And I've been, part of this in a very short period. I've been discussing with a few stakeholders, and again, I'm very confident that the city has all the attributes to be again a destination for those. It's just a question of getting the momentum back with certain industries that have been very supportive. I've explored other destinations during certain times, and we need to be a bit more attractive again. So when you and I discussed a few weeks ago, we had a nice coffee. Thank you again. When you mentioned how you get to learn the city, how you get to learn the vibe of the city, you're doing something very pragmatic, but I think they can go a long way just by doing something very simple. But it seems to work out for you to meet people, really face the city. Can you tell us how you come to work and how you go back to work and what you do that I think a lot of us should do more often? Well, I think part of coming here and part of settling in San Francisco is also it was about experiencing the city. We in any place that I've been living and working, I think understanding the city and knowing your destination is essential to be able to then to be again that promoter to your guest or future guest. When you meet you meet travel partners that are helping you to convey the message to guests in other part of the world. They would trust your judgment, they would trust your own experience. And so we chose to live in the city and also to be able to experience it from within. It's as I mentioned at the earlier part of the conversation, obviously living in San Francisco was a dream, was part of a personal objective, just like it was to live in Manhattan back in the days when I worked in New York. And yeah, it comes with certain concessions, but the trade-off of being in the heart of the city and understanding the multiple influences, culture, from an architecture point of view, from a cultural point of view, from the life of those different neighborhoods, I think you just can. I mean, you get that, so you capture that so easily living in the city. I would like to say, if I would say that I'm walking to work every day. I tend to drive to work, but I walk a lot whenever I have a few minutes, or like on a day off. I would, I just walk the city, and I walk every neighborhood because, it's a curiosity, and it's completely. I mean, it's very, very impressive how I think the biggest takeaway sounds silly, but because of the elevation, the multiple elevations, the topography of the landscape, there's so many point of views. I mean, points that, places that you just stopped. You finished to cross the street, obviously, but you should turn right to turn left. It's a different perspective, different horizons. It's a different architectural traits. All that is just, I think, fascinating, and it's just also a good. I think it's a good piece of a conversation also to then, communicate to the guest or doing, we have a lot of guests that would be on business for business purposes, but a fair amount also of them who combine a little bit of leisure time, and will definitely enjoy that. 3 blocks away from the hotel, you immerse yourself into a Chinatown that has a completely different feeling, or you push a bit further and you end up in North Beach, which is again another cultural, let's say, influence. So all that is, and there's much more to explore that I still have to do.
And I think your curiosity is great, because I know that, not only you're trying to learn about the city by doing your walking and connecting with the local community, but on top of it, you're really trying to be active with association. You came to my L'Apéro Mixer, you're looking at San Francisco Hotel Council, you're looking at, of course, the San Francisco Chamber of Commerce. So you're really, it seems that you're on the route to really want to be an advocate of the city, and you want to really relay that great image and, what we do so good here.
Well, I think there's a destination like this didn't become so successful without, obviously, the enormous work done at different level. And I think I'm very impressed by the number of different organizations that are that continue to work to improve what's happening in the city. So again, back to the comment of, as a hotel of a certain caliber in the city, I think it's also a responsibility to be also associated humbly to what can contribute to help, if we can influence certain things, or if we can help improve certain approaches by the observations we make. I can make as a newcomer, but also how the business is handled in at the hotel. I think it's you can't pretend that things will get better without investing some of your time, and also it just also sharing sometimes your feeling on how you see certain things and how you've seen certain things everywhere in the world. Don't get me wrong, it's certainly not an arrogant statement to say, oh well, you come here and you say what could be done differently. But it's definitely part of those discussion on how to understand when you try to understand how things got to where they are. It also helps to be putting a different perspectives also when you're talking about the destination to the outside world. So I hope that in the next, I think it's also, in order to be contributing, you also need to do that with enough information known. In your knowledge, and I think I focus in the next few months on certainly continue to my onboarding and continue really capturing information on the destination in order then maybe to join, yes, one of the organization I hope. But in order to do so, I want to have also enough ground information and experience from my own, so it can be productive.
Well, if you need any help, I'm here to help you.
Yeah, no, it's true. I mean, it's one of the platforms, connecting with the French hoteliers in the area was one of them. I'm connecting, with the French, the French community a little bit, but also not only that, but the Chamber of Commerce is important, even though I don't represent a French company, but I think it's the mindset that you may have that again brings that diversity, which is eventually brings some attributes.
Well, and that diversity comes as well from your experience all around the world. I mean, we're talking about Middle East, we're talking about Europe, we're talking about the US, Asia. I mean, you have encountered many different cultures, many different guests coming from all around the world. So that probably is for you, San Francisco, a place where you can meet all those cultures in one spot. Maybe is that or potentially?
Yeah, I think it's also linked to a hotel in general. I mean, international clientele travels to hotels, and as you greet and welcome, and take care of those guests in your hotel, obviously you get to understand different culture and the cultural differences, and you develop a sensitivity to it. I guess it's part of first being a good, being able to, attend to their needs, and that by doing so, I think you constantly develop a sense for being a little bit more attentive to culture traits or certain things that are different from let's say one geographical area or one culture to another one. That's the beginning. It's something that helps you be a better host for those guests who choose to stay with you, and I think those guests that you meet are also business entrepreneurs. They are successful in what they do, and so it's always some good exchanges also on that help you again understand a bit better what certain maybe profile of guests and business people would conduct themselves a certain way, but I would say it's very, very important to remain always in every country I've been. You're a visitor. I mean, you are also, people welcome you, and I think it's always important to remain extremely attentive to blending in the culture. I mean, you have a certain contribution that you bring, but being extremely respectful of what are the local customs, what are the local practices, business habits, and whatnot, and certainly not coming with a notion of we do it differently. Absolutely not.
Yeah, I like to talk about Four Seasons. Sorry, and I take too much space on that screen. I'm taking the whole logo, but maybe Four Seasons, because Four Seasons is really unique on the luxury hotel segment, right? And one of the things that you and I discussed is how primordial, how crucial is the fact to know your guest who will come back for the GM, for the staff, will follow you guys wherever you guys go. And it tends to be because of the service you provide and the details that you're able to get about your guests and how you treat them. Can you tell us about, because you made your career with Four Seasons. I mean, you know, you know, and in our industry, it's very often that you see people, you know, changing flags, changing companies. Why do you think Four Seasons had such an impact with you, not only with you, with your guests who follows that brand tremendously?
I think one of the biggest differentiator and what built the success of Four Seasons is that the brand has established itself with a certain not a concept, but with a way to extend service that is of a medium-sized properties to ensure that the personalization of service, the recognition of the guest is guaranteed. And this, you have to, so the most important element of that is that the scale of your establishment, of your hotel property allows that. Then the second element is that you have a team that is extending this with a genuine approach that is connected to your guests the same way. So I think what we have done over the years, even though the growth is essential to the success of Four Seasons as a brand, eventually the growth is done with an attention to remaining at the scale that we can guarantee that recognition to the guests. We can guarantee that we don't lose our soul, let's say, or differentiator in too much expansion. But over time, we've also been able to create Four Seasons, let's say, babies that are like, people like me who have grown with the company and have, as you for example, enter a market. I take the example of when the first Four Seasons hotel opened in the Middle East in 1999. 2000, it was Cairo First Residence, a property I worked at eventually. That hotel then opened up the doors to so many, to be all sort of a school for so many staff members from that region that could, go through, that experience their first step in the current Four Seasons, and eventually supported the growth in the Middle Eastern region to a great extent because, people became, younger managers and directors, and that helped for the strong development in that region. And why again? Because I think what we never lose sight of is that the people is a differentiation that we put in perspective. Of course, our properties are obviously they have all the great attributes that a luxury hotel, size of the rooms, quality of the amenities, the restaurants, all that. But we put so much emphasis on the team that animates that property, and that extends a service that is certainly not that at no point is formal. The service we believe in is a service that is that's experiential. The service that is really the one that will trigger a memory, that will trigger an emotional, let's say, connection with that property, and that comes from people caring and display and executing or dispensing service with a sense of, hey, I want to create a memorable moment for a guest. Of course, there are standards of service that are here to ensure consistency, but the autonomy we give to the team to be then, to pick a moment, to have a special attention to a guest, or to adjust, certain things in a guest during the guest stay to enhance their comfort. We give that autonomy, and it's important. It certainly cannot be robotic. It has to be genuine. That's when it becomes a luxurious experience. So it was a long answer.
No, that's good. And I'm just looking. We have three minutes left. Yeah, no, it goes fast. But and we talked about Four Seasons and what it's doing recently to be more like a lifestyle shift to kind of a younger guest population. We've seen your flight, the jet that have 50 seats that offer 3 weeks kind of trip in the air, right? I mean, this is new, right? That fairly new for
well, it continues to be extremely successful, but it's not new anymore. It has, I think we're on the 8th year. I was lucky in that program started 2016, if I'm correct. And I was lucky during my time in Prague to be one of the stop on one of the journey. And as you described, it's for 3 weeks you're in. I mean, the programs vary from like 2 to 3 weeks, and you're basically traveling on that private. It's a full-size jet, but that has been retrofitted to have only 50 seats or 60 seats, and the service on board is just Four Seasons, but it's basically only a commodity to connect different properties within the Four Seasons portfolio. So you have a full Four Seasons experience from the moment you leave your house that first day until the last day that you get back to your house after 3 weeks of traveling, where you have not touched your suitcase. It's basically because everything is handled, and I think that's a pretty great dream come true type of vacation. The return ratio is extremely high. And I think recently we were talking that we have guests that have done 6 of those trips. So they sign up for more. So they are thematical. There's some that are more that go around certain thematics of culture, or more discoveries, or more let's say sports and other more exceptional experiences. But it's been very successful. But why it was great, it was also because we had actually, it also started with guests asking, hey, can you cater programs that we would like just to have we are Four Seasons, and we will stay in the Four Seasons, we want to go to another one, but something in between. We have to get to normal airlines and the hassle of traveling. And for some people, that's how the idea got converted into, well, we can probably do that. And something is coming up similarly with yacht business. We're gonna build a yacht. I mean, there's some yachts that are being built with partners, and the Four Seasons experience will be on a yacht. And the same, it will be the same. I mean, it will be a similar approach, something fairly exclusive. It's not gonna be thousands of people, cruise liner, but it's gonna feel feel like a Four Seasons experience.
All right, everybody, thank you again for being with us on Checked In with Pierre Bee, but once again, more importantly, with Stephane Gras, General Manager of the Four Seasons San Francisco. Stephane, thank you for your time. We really appreciate it. Thank you for your insight on Four Seasons. Thank you for your feedback on the city. We are so glad to have you part of this community. We look forward to see you succeed with your team and making sure that San Francisco come back and is as strong as ever. So thank you for your time. Do you have a few words you'd like to share before we part ways today?
No, I really thanks again for the opportunity to discuss and talk about this what's happening for me here, I know we will have a chance to reconnect soon, and it's part of obviously of what the future holds for all of us here, and continue to apprehend and get to know this fabulous destination and all these actors. So thank you for the opportunity, really, Pierre.
Thank you, Stephane. See you soon. Au revoir.
Thank you. Merci.
Be well. Ciao, ciao. Thank you, Stephane.
Bientôt.
Bye-bye.
Au revoir.
Au revoir.